Fox host Leland Vittert, who's the host of the show that I've been on a few times, he sparred with the Trump campaign over the election, and it became obnoxious and nearly incoherent.
All right, so we heard from David, no plans to concede. What's the path then to 270?
Well, considering no state has actually certified the election results, there are ballots still being counted across the country. This is going to take some time to make sure we count every legal vote and do not count any illegal votes in the United States.
I understand that, but we've heard that talking point for a long time. But just go through the vote totals. In Georgia, President Trump is behind. There's currently a recount there. People have said they don't think it's going to change, even the Republican officials there. Pennsylvania, the president's behind by tens of thousands of votes. Even if you win all the lawsuits, it doesn't count those and wouldn't make up for the difference. Nevada, the president's behind. Arizona, the president is far behind, even though your campaign said by last Friday, a week ago, the president was going to be ahead. Wisconsin, the president is behind as well. What states is the president going to pull ahead in?
Well, Leland, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. It seems like you're certainly not keen to let that happen today. But let's talk about Pennsylvania for a fact here. Okay. There are almost 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania that were counted in opposition to the Constitution. An actual egregious error there where they violated the Equal Protection Act. Nope. You're going to let me finish. The Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Almost 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania and in Michigan. Let's have a conversation about that state as well, where you have video from Fox News of individuals boarding up the windows, again, in violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. You've talked more than I have, Aaron. Answer the question, and then you get to talk. The question is this.
I did answer, but you interrupted me the first time.
What do you want to have happen with those 700,000 votes? The ballots are already mixed in. Do you just want 700,000 votes deducted from Biden's total?
We want to make sure that conversation happens. You're trying to say this is done and over.
I'm not. I'm not saying it's done and over. I'm asking you where you're going to find the votes to pull ahead. Where are the votes to pull ahead?
Forward. This is now my third time to try to get this answer out. The legal path ahead exists here because there are clear constitutional violations that keep snarking, making your faces and rolling your eyes, Leland.
Take me through.
I get it. You guys spent years trying to run up a Russia hoax against the president.
It's very simple.
And trying to say this is over.
How does the president?
And hypocrisy continues because you know what?
How does the president
said, don't concede to Joe Biden.
What do you want to have happen to the 700,000 votes?
That this is over for us. It's ridiculous.
What do you want to
have? What happens to the 7?
What do you want to have happen to the votes?
Decide, Leland.
Okay.
That is up for the court to decide. But we should be able to have the conversation about those votes when you're trying to say this is done and over.
No, nobody's trying to say that. I'm just simply asking you.
You guys keep calling president-elect. It sounds like you guys are certainly saying it's over.
I don't know who you guys are. Okay, you and I are having I'm trying to have a conversation with you and ask you.
I'm Aaron Perini.
I'm trying to ask you. I work for the
President of the United States.
I'm trying to ask you very simply. Where are you going to find the votes? You say we want to count every vote, conceivably because you think that means you're going to pull ahead. Where are the votes in a path to 270? Where?
We are taking every legal avenue that exists in these states to make sure that legal votes are counted and illegal votes are counted. Here's a question for you, Leland. For every Democrat and every talking head on the news, how much fraud is okay? How many dead people can vote and you're okay with that? How many ballots are run through a machine multiple times and you're okay with that? No, it's a serious question. We want to protect election integrity in the United States. And we said for months that we wanted to make sure every legal vote was counted and every illegal vote was not counted.
Who are you lumping everybody together with, Aaron? You guys? Really?
The media?
The media in general? So now it's just you just attack everybody if they don't agree with you. Okay.
Wow. It really is something to see how there's a breakup happening. There's a divorce happening between Donald Trump, his wing of the party, and Fox News. Because Fox News, as biased as they are, as partisan as they are, they're not willing to go to certain lengths that the Trump people want them to go to. Like when every other news outlet called the election, and they're calling the election because of their data analysts and experts who are giving them the reality, what was Fox News supposed to do? tell their own data analysts and election experts, no, you're wrong? They weren't going to do that. But that is what caused the initial rift. And now here we are. You're having these insane arguments where the Trump position is just beyond absurd. There was one moment in there where she says, like, all we want is to let the courts decide. Okay, they're doing it. And they're throwing out virtually all of your cases. I want to do a plug again on this because I think it's really important. But Rising with Crystal and Sagar have been going through the court cases, looking into the details of them and reporting them. And basically every time they're like, oh, it was thrown out immediately. It's a joke. It's a joke. They don't have any evidence for the things that they're claiming. And so they're being laughed out of the courtroom. One judge described it as hearsay within hearsay. They don't have any evidence. So if you say leave it up to the courts, I say okay, and the courts are siding against Trump. And then this whole thing about 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Is the claim that there were 700,000 illegal votes that were cast in Pennsylvania? Is that the claim? She goes on to say, well, the dead people are voting. There's no dead people voting. In fact, the examples that were given by the Trump war room were immediately debunked by low-budget local news outlets who knocked on the door of the person's home and the person was alive. It's all these insane stories, animals voting. Ironically, that's fake news. It's fake news. Now, when they make this distinction and they keep hammering it home, we want to count all the legal votes, don't count any of the illegal votes. What do they mean? They mean, let's do voter disenfranchisement and try to find ways to find loopholes to throw out votes that we don't like. Let's go to heavily Democratic areas and let's try to throw out whatever we can. So how do they do such a thing? I've given this example before, but on some of your government documents, it may just say your first name and your last name. Other documents of yours, it might have your middle name. Some might have your middle initial. I know this is what it's like with me. Some of my things have my middle name. Some of them don't have my middle name. Some of them have my middle initial. Some of them don't have my middle initial. What they'll do is they'll go through it and try to match stuff up. Your records say this is your middle initial. You didn't put your middle initial when you signed your signature. What am I going to do? I got to throw it out. Oh, did you move? You didn't record that soon enough, or there's a discrepancy here, so sorry, we're going to have to throw that out. This is the stuff that they try to do, guys. This is what they try to do. So I just want you to understand that the real concern in this election is the exact opposite of what they're yelping about. Their argument is, oh my God, there's all these illegal votes. There's not. There's no evidence of that. The real issue is voter disenfranchisement, where they try any way to throw out votes in heavily Democratic areas, because they know the lower the turnout, especially in Democratic areas, the more likely it is that Trump wins. So that's what they're trying to do, but they're not going to find enough votes. And I love how she says at one point, the equal protection clause of the Constitution was violated during vote counting. Who comes up with this stuff? I honestly think that this started with like a Facebook meme, and now it just took off like wildfire, and now you're hearing people say this. The equal protection clause of the Constitution was violated during vote counting. They're trying to make the case our poll watchers weren't even allowed in, bro. Our poll watchers, bro. Guys, in the room counting all the votes, it's Democrats and Republicans. Let me repeat that. In the room counting all the votes are Democrats and Republicans. What do you mean poll watchers? There's Republicans in the room. The real dispute, by the way, to the extent there were them, it was about how far away the poll watchers can be. Another one was they were trying to cover up the windows, and one of these things is they were counting the votes because there were concerns about the privacy of the people who they were counting the votes for. You got these madmen looking at everything, and you got the addresses and stuff and all the information laid out right there. They wanted to protect people's privacy. They've become more and more unhinged. And, guys, again, I hate to tell this to you if you're a right-winger or you're a Trump voter, the election is not that close. If the election was around 270 electoral votes, yes, you could have a Bush versus Gore situation where they basically try to steal it. You could have that. This is 306 electoral votes. Trump would need to swing like 3 or 4 states. He's not going to do it. The closest one is Georgia, and even in Georgia, the margin isn't razor thin anymore. The margin in Florida was much thinner. Biden's up by about 15,000 votes or so in Georgia. You're not going to win. You're not going to win Georgia. You're not going to win Arizona. You're not going to win Nevada. You're not going to win Pennsylvania. In fact, Biden's up by a full point now in Pennsylvania, outside of the realm of a recount. This is wishful thinking, man, all day long. So it's kind of amazing to me that they're willing to embarrass themselves and go out there and make this argument when it's like everything is against them. All of the court cases are getting thrown out. You're not even close to making sense. The conspiracy theories are endless. Now there's one about there was a supercomputer in Germany that found that actually Trump won like over 400 electoral votes. People really believe this shit. They really believe this shit. Guys, you lost Fox News. Leland Vittert, who's trying to hold the Trump person accountable there, is no right-winger. Me and him debated a little bit when I was on his show a few times. He's no left-winger. I think I said he's no right-winger. No, he is a right-winger. He's a center-right guy. But they're trying to make it seem like, oh my God, he's this crazy lefty because he is being honest about the election results. It's just pathetic, man. It's just pathetic. So I can't believe they're still doing this. Trump is out there on Twitter today saying, I won the election. The postmodern presidency. I created my own reality, and I will try to make that override the actual reality. That's what we're witnessing.